Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Bruce Frisco. Todd Battis is off tonight. It is Friday, June the 19th, and this is CTV News. Tonight, come sail away. The world's fastest boats set to compete in the Halifax harbor. History made. Soccer fans still cheering Team Canada's FIFA World Cup shutout.
We have a chance of showers on both days of the weekend, but they're most likely on Saturday.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Bruce Frisco.
Good evening. As we ease into the Father's Day weekend, scores of people are expected to converge on the Halifax harbor, which is once again hosting a Sail Grand Prix. This is the second time the city has been home to the international event. But as CTV's Jonathan McGuinness tells us tonight, with the sport's growing popularity, other Canadian cities are now taking notice and showing an interest in hosting themselves.
With Canada's F-50 catamaran emerging from its bay, SailGP racing edges closer to the starting horn.
We try to treat it like any other Grand Prix, but the reality is that there is a much bigger buzz about it, which is great.
Canadian driver Giles Scott is familiar with this course. He won here in 2024 at the wheel of the Great Britain boat.
It was epic.
The race circuit skipped Halifax last year, but has returned for this year and has a commitment to be back in 2027.
Yeah, Halifax is such a great venue. That's why SailGP wants to be here. I think it's mutually beneficial for Halifax and SailGP to have a race here.
The sport has seen significant growth in Canada since the inaugural race in 2024. Other cities in the country have taken notice and they want in.
There's some interest from other Canadian cities for sure, but we know the people here in Halifax. We know how the event site lays out and how the stadium works, and we've had a lot of support from the people here.
American driver Taylor Canfield is happy to have the race in Halifax.
All the teams are expressing how exciting this city is to come to and how the fans get behind it, the city gets behind it.
Crowds make the difference. 50,000 packed the harbor's shorelines 2 years ago. Team Canada flight controller and Halifax native Billy Gooderham says the view from the water is second to none.
It's a truly unique, special feeling. I've said it a few times, but you really truly can hear the crowd noise even over how loud the boats are and through the noise-canceling headphones.
It seems like the feeling is mutual. Attendance records were set in 2024, and ticket sales have tripled for this year's event. Well, Bruce, SailGP fans got a taste of what these F-50s can do during today's practice racing. And they'll be doing it for real tomorrow in front of what could well be record crowds along the waterfronts here in Halifax and Dartmouth. Bruce.
I would think so. Okay,
Jonathan
thank you, John.
McGuinness, CTV News.
CTV's Jonathan McGuinness reporting from downtown Halifax tonight. Now to the other big international sporting event that the whole country is talking about. Canadian soccer fans still abuzz after Canada's historic 6-0 victory over Qatar last night for the men's first ever FIFA World Cup victory. CTV's Avery McRae caught up with some local fans, including one who happened to be at the game in Vancouver supporting the team's only maritime star.
It was an evening those at this watch party in Halifax and Canadians from across the country won't soon forget.
I think all in all, great performance from the team from start to finish.
Takes a deflection, it's Jonathan David! What a strike from Jonathan David! Canada picked up their first ever FIFA Men's World Cup win with a 6-0 drubbing of Qatar in front of a sold-out sea of red in Vancouver. John Santee caught the action at a local restaurant.
And then, boom, they scored, and then I was like, yeah! Yes! Let's go!
I thought it was a great game. I feel like we did really good. Great score, 6-0.
Watch parties have become a popular place to be for the games, as seen last night in Halifax, as well as in Moncton for a FIFA Fan Fest event. Canada's fifth goal was a Qatar own goal that came from the foot of Nova Scotia's Jacob Schaffelberg, known better to locals as Maritime Messi. His father Michael witnessed the moments firsthand, along with 50,000 Canadians.
His older brother, he went down our row, went down the aisle, and he was, because it was we were right there where he scored. So Zach took off down the stairs and was hanging over the rail screaming at his brother. I don't know. It's really hard to put it all into words.
The star striker isn't the only Maritime presence in the Canadian locker room, according to Fredericton District Soccer Association Director Barry Morrison.
We've got Joe Hamilton, our executive director, as an analyst with the team. We've got a former player in Pat Cormier, who's on the strength and conditioning staff. So it's really amazing to see that even a small little club in Fredericton is connecting directly onto the fields at the World Cup.
He says the World Cup has been all the buzz on the local pitches of late, which he expects to continue leading up to their final group stage game against Switzerland. A Canadian win or draw would give them top seed in the group and secure a playoff game on home soil.
I think we're pumped. I think we have the momentum, and I think we're going to do it.
The two countries will square off Wednesday afternoon at 4 o'clock in Vancouver. Avery McRae, CTV News, St. John.
Okay, here's a live look at downtown Charlottetown, where it's currently a very comfortable 21 degrees. We'll get our first look at the weather now with Kaylin Mitchell in the CTV Atlantic Weather Center tonight, and not a bad evening as we ease into the Father's Day weekend.
Yeah, that's true in most cases around the Maritime, so we do have some showers present in parts of New Brunswick, and there is a chance of a shower even in the Charlottetown area as we make our way through this evening. A few of those showers in New Brunswick kind of drifting in that direction. We're taking a look here at rainfall reports. This is from Thursday into Friday morning. Picked up a good 10 to 30 millimeters of rain across a large portion of New Brunswick, so some parts of the south of that province finished a little bit lower than that mark, and some areas in the north of New Brunswick finished a little bit higher, including 44 millimeters reported at Edmundston. As for Prince Edward Island, a lot of communities finished between around 10 and 20 millimeters of rain. And for Nova Scotia, a lot of areas between about 5 and 15 millimeters. There were some higher reports that came in out of the Annapolis Valley, including 26 millimeters at Middleton and 35 millimeters reported at New Minas. So it might have been possible that a few downpours made its way through the valley. As we take a look at things on radar and satellite, here's the shower activity I mentioned. So showers going to be a little bit more widespread around some of the northernmost communities of New Brunswick for tonight. And then there's some scattered showers present through central and southern areas of New Brunswick, and maybe a few of those drifting towards Prince Edward Island. These showers a little bit further towards the south, I do expect those will be winding down as we head through this evening, and they'll be replaced by some cloudy periods and some fog patches tonight. Looks like we have had just a little bit of a lightning strike picked up here just over the last few minutes down around the south of New Brunswick. There is a low risk of a couple small thunderstorms present within those showers over the next few hours. Other conditions for anybody who's heading out for this evening, temperatures are mostly in the 20s, except cooler in the north of New Brunswick. Held that way because of the cloudier conditions and the more persistent showers moving through. And the winds aren't too bad right now, mostly out of the southwest and being sustained between 10 and 20 kilometers per hour. We're getting some gusts reported between 30 and 40 kilometers per hour. When I come back, we'll have more on the forecast. We'll go through the weekend into next week, Bruce.
All right, thank you, my friend. Full forecast coming up in 15 or 20 minutes, in fact. One man has died after a collision in Earltown, Nova Scotia last night. This happened just before 11 p.m. on Highway 326. Police say the victim was on the roadway at the time and was struck by a Ford Edge being driven by a 29-year-old woman from DeBert. The 60-year-old from Truro died at the scene. Nobody else was injured. The investigation is said to be ongoing. A man was injured in an early morning stabbing incident in Halifax. This one happened just before 5 a.m. in the 5600 block of Kennard Street. Police say a 30-year-old man was found with stab wounds. He was taken to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Anyone with information about the incident is asked to call HRP. Bus lanes are coming to one of Halifax's busiest roads. While there will be some pain for motorists while they're being installed, the area councillor insists it is all part of reducing congestion and getting ahead of future growth in the city. CTV's Callum Smith has more.
Cannot all the way to Windsor.
If you ask Councillor Sean Cleary, 11% of Halifax's transportation on a given day is by transit, and that's not good enough.
If we want to become a more sustainable city, reduce that congestion, not enter those gridlock phases, then we need more people riding transit. The best way to do that is make transit way better than it is today.
While the lower part of Bears Road off the By High has dedicated bus lanes in both directions, that's not the case from Connaught to Windsor Street. But that's the purpose of Phase 2 of Bears Road work, which ramps up next month. While pedestrian access will be maintained during construction, inbound vehicle traffic will not. There will be a single lane for outbound motorists.
I like to rip that Band-Aid off right ahead of time and let people know that it is going to happen, right? One of those intersections that we're trying to get all the ducks in a row is actually the Oxford Bears Road intersection.
But he says the work, which is pegged at $17.7 million, is a must.
I think it's a critical path for HRM.
Portions of properties have already been purchased to support road widening. For some who live on Bears Road, losing parking is a step too far.
It's no good for our city, especially right here on Bears Road, where it's so busy constantly all the time. You got cars who want to park on the side of the roads because they have no driveways. They're not going to be able to do that anymore.
Cleary argues it's all part of the bigger picture.
Unfortunately, it's one of the trade-offs.
Totally support it. The traffic is crazy and we need different modes of way of getting peoples around the peninsula.
According to the council, there's too much at stake to keep the status quo.
We have to not only catch up to the growth that we've experienced in the last number of years, we have to prepare for the growth that's coming over the next decade or two. If we do not get transportation right, and transit is a big part of that, now we will be doomed as a city for the coming decades.
So again, pedestrian access will remain throughout construction, but inbound vehicles will be detoured up Chebucto Road and reconnect in the area of North and Windsor. The detour will be lifted, meaning roads back open over the winter months. That will close again next spring. But the bigger plan, Bruce, will connect these bus lanes down from Robins Avenue all the way up to Roby Street. Bruce.
Okay, thank you, Callum. CTV's Callum Smith reporting live tonight from Bears Road in Halifax. It is officially the last day of school in New Brunswick, and the academic year is winding down with a chronic absenteeism problem that remains stubbornly high in that province. Provincial data for the 2025-26 school year shows close to 31% of K-12 students in New Brunswick missed 10% or more of class time. That exceeds the provincial target of 29% for chronic absenteeism. Closer look at the data shows nearly 40% of high school students missed 18 days or more of school this year. The province says that problem has basically doubled since the pandemic, and they've set a goal of getting the rate down to about 26% by 2028. Well, gas prices have decreased slightly around the region, but one industry expert says this is about as good as it will get for the summer. Regular self-serve dropped 2.6 cents at pumps in New Brunswick this morning. Customers also seeing a bigger decrease, 4.5 cents in the Halifax area. The drop follows an interim peace agreement between the United States and Iran, but the president of Canadians for Affordable Energy notes prices are still higher than they were this time last year, and he expects the current dip will be somewhat short-lived.
The war premium may very well have ended, but the deficit continues to hang over the reality. The deficit in supply. The world's missing about 1.7 billion barrels of oil.
McTagg, in fact, is predicting an expensive summer for drivers, which, of course, will drive up inflation on everything else, including groceries. Now that the nicer weather seems to be here, the Halifax Regional Municipality is reminding dog owners to keep their pets leashed. In fact, the rule applies everywhere at all times, unless signage indicates otherwise. CTV's Hafsa Arif explains.
In Halifax, it's a site the municipality wants dog owners to remember, keeping their pets on a leash. While many residents follow the rules, the city is seeing more reports of serious dog attacks.
From serious to minor ones, but all of them are reported, and we just know that there's been an increase this year compared to last year.
The city says there are designated off-leash parks throughout the municipality. But outside those areas, owners are expected to keep their dogs restrained.
You know, there are the dog-on-dog reports that we did, and then there's dogs on people as well. So we're seeing kind of all sorts of complaints.
So far, there's been an increase of 35% of reports involving dogs off leash in areas where leashing is required. Among dog walkers here, the reports come as a surprise.
14 years, never seen a dog attack personally as someone who uses a dog park every single day, 7 days a week, sometimes multiple times a day.
And while dogs can occasionally clash, dog owners don't believe serious incidents are as common in the area.
Every once in a while you do see something, and it's more the dogs getting into scrapes, I think, than people. Maybe people get in the way.
Like I said, dogs do have disagreements. That's pretty normal. They are dogs, just like children will hit each other at the playground. You know, it's similar, but if people don't understand how to control their dogs, that is an issue.
Owners can be fined more than $350 for violating posted leash requirements. Hafsa Arif, CTV News, Halifax.
3 different swimming bans are in effect around St. John tonight thanks to elevated bacteria levels revealed by testing. The advisory includes Fisher Lake and Rockwood Park, Dominion Park Beach on the city's west side, and Tucker Park Beach, which was added to the list this afternoon. Warning signs have been posted at all of the locations. In addition, the city says lifeguards will be on site during regular operating hours to inform people in person about the advisories. Should note that recreational activities around the water is still permitted. And online, we have a throwback item for you tonight, uploaded from 38 years ago, entitled The Last Lighthouse Keeper. You can check that out in the Video Vault section of our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. All right, still ahead, CTV film critic Richard Krause joins us with his reviews of this week's top new releases in theaters. And Kalen will be back with his full weekend forecast. Coming up next, though, still no signed deal between the U.S. and Iran.
A U.S. official saying Israel and Hezbollah have agreed to a new ceasefire, and it could be key as that new deal between the U.S. and Iran goes into effect. I'm Olivia Rubin with those details coming up.
This is the Campfire Condition Report, brought to you by Pine Acres RV, where customers become friends. Conditions are valid until 2 p.m. on June 20th. And for the province of New Brunswick, campfires are currently allowed. For the province of Nova Scotia, most counties can have a campfire between 2 p.m. and 8 a.m. In Queens County on the South Shore, campfires are allowed between 7 p.m. and 8 a.m. And for Prince Edward Island, campfires are currently allowed with domestic brush burning between the hours of 2 p.m. and 8 a.m. Check in on municipal restrictions and bylaws as well.
A potential breakthrough in the Middle East today. Israel and Hezbollah have agreed to a ceasefire in Lebanon. This could be key to keeping the new U.S. deal with Iran intact. Now, vessels are said to be passing through the Strait of Hormuz. ABC's Olivia Rubin has the latest.
After deadly Israeli strikes overnight in Lebanon, today a potential breakthrough. Israel and Hezbollah agreeing to a new ceasefire. According to a U.S. official, it's a key part of the new 60-day deal between the U.S. and Iran, which calls for peace around the region. Israel not part of the drafting of that deal. Secretary of State Marco Rubio spoke with the Lebanese president today, who, according to the State Department, said disarming Hezbollah and reestablishing control over all Lebanese territory are priorities. In an interview with Axios today, President Trump discussing his relationship with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
It's good, but we have to keep him a little bit sane.
Negotiations for further agreements between the U.S. and Iran were supposed to start today in Switzerland, but Vice President J.D. Vance didn't go. Those talks called off at the last minute. A spokesperson for Iran's Ministry of Foreign Affairs saying the memo was signed, but there was no urgent need to meet, though plans are being made for a meeting in the coming days. President Trump today saying this.
We have an agreement that was signed last night. And it's 60 days. They have to make a deal. Otherwise, we we will do things that won't make them happy, but I don't think it's going to get to that. I think it's going to be very good.
Back at home, some within the president's own party slamming the deal he made with Iran, which lifts all sanctions and could let them rake in billions of dollars.
Giving billions of dollars to theocratic lunatics who want to murder us is an exceptionally bad idea.
And new questions about what the U.S. is getting in return here. Iran in the deal not committing to destroying its nuclear stockpile, just agreeing to negotiate it over the next 60 days. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, New York.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
The American group behind a whale coastal refuge held a ceremony this afternoon near Wine Harbor, Nova Scotia. It marks a milestone in its efforts to get the project off the ground. CTV's Jesse Thomas explains.
After years of studies, public meetings, planning sessions, fundraising campaigns, the Whale Sanctuary Project is finally ready to break ground on the eastern shore, where they hope to welcome captive whales here soon. CEO Charles Vinnick and the team at the Whale Sanctuary Project welcomed dozens of people to their future sanctuary site in Wine Harbor, Nova Scotia. The organization has been working on bringing captive whales here since 2018. Although the project hasn't moved as fast as they'd like, today's announcement marked a major milestone as they break ground on what would be North America's first seaside sanctuary for captive whales. Crews are now preparing the land to bring in key infrastructure like water and electricity. Vinnick says they hope to begin construction of the headquarters soon.
It is a momentous day. It's been a long time. Look, none of us thought it would take this long. 3.5 years of environmental studies, 5 years of studies of the water quality, and all of the work and the fundraising that we've done to date and still have to do, because there's more fundraising to do to bring the nets here. But this shows that we're moving forward, and it will happen.
The project has faced opposition from some nearby residents who have raised environmental concerns, but Vinnick says multiple environmental studies have been completed, and the organization has worked to address the concerns raised by local residents, and they'll continue to do so. Supporters of the facility spoke highly today about the sanctuary's potential work with animal welfare and the economic benefits involved. So far, there are no formal agreements to bring any captive whales to the sanctuary, but the organization hopes that will change as they begin the construction process. They hope to bring in the first whales here as soon as next spring. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Wine Harbor, Nova Scotia.
Okay, coming up next, a look at what we can expect weather-wise over the all-important Father's Day weekend. Kaylin Mitchell returns with his full forecast on CTV News at 6. Continue. Live look at breathtaking Iona at Cape Breton right now, where it's currently 18 degrees and sunny and pretty as a postcard.
Well, that's pleasant, and yeah, a little bit of fair weather cloud cover drifting through. A little bit chance of a shower or small thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon into early evening, as will other parts of Nova Scotia. And I'll talk more about that when we come back to the forecast for the Maritimes.
We last night's rain felt maybe a little heavier than I was expecting. I noticed.
Finished about 12 millimeters of rain.
Really? Is that
around the Halifax area. Mm-hmm. There weren't any sort of overly alarming rainfall totals out of that system. And honestly, this time of the year, we need those type of rainfalls.
Oh, for sure.
Might have another one coming up early next week. Tuesday's the day to watch for maybe another more widespread rain for the Maritimes. Let's take a look at weather conditions across the country, though. We'll get back to talking about some precipitation in the region for this weekend in a moment. There's some risk of some thunderstorms in the interior of BC. In fact, one being reported right now, Prince George, sitting at 18 degrees. But there's rainfall warnings out for central areas of Alberta, including in around Edmonton. Some areas could see potentially as much as 50 to 100 millimeters of rain through the weekend, as there's going to be a low-pressure system, a very slow-moving low-pressure system moving through. It's 20 right now in Saskatoon and 20 at Winnipeg. Up north, Whitehorse sitting at 19 degrees. Yellowknife sitting at 16 with a mix of sun and cloud. It's 10 and sunny at Iqaluit. A little bit warmer now in parts of southern Ontario, with Windsor sitting at 25. Toronto at 22 degrees. 60 and rain being reported at Montreal. In Labrador, we've got 16 degrees and a mix of sun and cloud at Happy Valley, Goose Bay. Labrador City, similar, 17. St. John sitting at 7 degrees and reporting some fog. And in the Maritimes right now, we have a lot of temperatures sitting in the 20s, except cooler in northern areas of New Brunswick, because that's where the cloud cover and the showers have been lingering the most throughout the day, and that's where the cloud cover and the showers are going to linger the most as we make our way through tonight and into Saturday morning. There'll be partly cloudy conditions for other parts of the Maritimes. Fog patches developing overnight, with fog dissipating or retreating to the coast through Saturday morning. Should be some sunny breaks on Saturday, but then becoming partly cloudy conditions for the afternoon, along with scattered showers in general for the Maritimes. So any given community for tomorrow has about a 40 to 60% chance of seeing a shower move through, especially afternoon into early evening. And among the showers, there will be a risk of some small thunderstorms for the province of Nova Scotia. Begins in around the Halifax County, northern areas of the Annapolis Valley, extends up around the Minas Basin, heads towards the North Shore, Eastern Shore, and Cape Breton. Any showers that do pop up, thunderstorms that do pop up, lightning and maybe downpours would be the hazards. Taking a look at winds in the forecast for tomorrow, they're going to become northwest for both New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island, with some gusts between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour. Winds for the province of Nova Scotia remain mostly out of the west throughout the day, but again, some similar gusts between 20 and 40. Nothing unusual for those type of winds for us here in the Maritimes. Taking a look at low temperatures in the forecast for tonight, a good portion of the region can expect lows between around 10 and 16 degrees. And then here's your highs for Saturday. In the north of New Brunswick, 18 at Edmundston, 17 at Campbellton, and also looking at a high near 17 degrees for Miramichi. Now through central and southern areas of New Brunswick, 19 for Fredericton, and then 17 for both St. John and Moncton, as well as Grand Manan. Prince Edward Island for tomorrow with high temperatures, mostly between 14 and 17 degrees, a little bit warmer at Charlottetown, closer to 17 there, 15 at Summerside, and then 14 at Montague. In Cape Breton, high temperatures mostly in the low 20s, except a little bit cooler in Inverness County because of that west wind off the Gulf. They're close to 17 degrees. High teens, low 20s for the North Shore of mainland Nova Scotia, mostly looking at mid to high teens directly on the Atlantic coastline of the Eastern Shore. 21, though, for the city centers Halifax and Dartmouth. For those attending the SailGP races, it generally looks like decent weather conditions, but you do have that chance of a shower and low risk of a thunderstorm afternoon into early evening. I think the sailors, though, will certainly appreciate having those west winds around that, again, will have some gusts between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour. Temperatures near 20 for the Annapolis Valley, and on the south shore of Nova Scotia, high temperatures between 17 and 21. Taking a look at the extended forecast for New Brunswick on Sunday, Father's Day, mix of sun and cloud, about a 30-40% chance of a shower for any community. On Monday, it's a mix of sun and cloud in the forecast. Rain possible on Tuesday of next week, followed by a chance of showers on Wednesday, and then a mix of sun and cloud, pleasant temperatures for Thursday and Friday. For Nova Scotia, in the outlook coming up on Sunday, Father's Day, mix of sun and cloud, 40% chance of a shower, mix of sun and cloud on Monday, rain possible on Tuesday of next week, followed by a chance of showers on Wednesday, and then mix of sun and cloud for Thursday and Friday. And for Prince Edward Island coming up on Sunday, mix of sun and cloud, low chance of a shower, a little bit cool, high temperature near 14 degrees. Back up to near 20, though, on Monday with a mix of sun and cloud. Rain possible on Tuesday, a chance of showers on Wednesday, and a mix of sun and cloud, pleasant temperatures Thursday and Friday of next week, Bruce.
All right, thank you, my friend. Wake up weather still to come at the end of the broadcast. Coming up next, film critic Richard Krause with his take on some new movies in theaters for the weekend. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Okay, so it starts Monday morning, 7 a.m. Virgin Radio Stop the Pump is back, and you can win up to $10,000. Good luck.
And also get a shot at $200 to Atlantic Superstore as well.
Okay, so it's Friday, a pretty good time to talk about the latest movie releases. And as always, to help us guide through this week's new offerings, we're always happy to see CTV film critic Richard Krause. Thanks for joining us tonight, Richard. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me, Bruce.
So first up, Toy Story 5. Let's take a look.
Woody!
Jesse, hello?
Is it as bad out there for toys as they say it is?
We're finding more abandoned toys each day.
We're down! Tech's invaded our house, too.
I don't know, Jesse. Toys are...
And so it goes. This franchise just keeps going.
If you were 11 years old when the first movie came out, you're 41 years old now and probably taking your kids. Yeah. So this has been around for a long time. And normally by the time you get to the 5th installment of any franchise, it's diminishing returns.
Sure.
The further away from the source material that you get, the worse the movies. So we're at number 5 now. I am happy to tell you, though, that this is a return to form for the Toy Story franchise. This is a movie about a little 8-year-old named Bonnie, and she's the only girl in her neighborhood, the only kid in her neighborhood who still plays with toys. And the toys she plays with are the ones that we've been following along for 30 years. There's Woody and Jessie and Buzz Lightyear and all the others. All the other kids play on devices. They all have tablets and smartphones and things. So her parents, hoping that she will fit in, they get her something called a lily pad. And of course, she becomes obsessed with it and forgets about all her old friends, the toys. So they bond together to try and make sure that she gets to meet some new people, gets to meet the right people, but doesn't leave her old friends, the toys, behind. It's simple, it's very sweet, and it's about tech versus toys, but it's not a franchise standing on its lawn yelling, you know, get off of my lawn, you tech. It's not that. It gives you a sense that there is a place for tech, but tech is passive, whereas playing with toys uses your imagination and makes you playful. And those are two things that this movie certainly has. It's playful, it's imaginative, it's got all the old voices that you want, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen and Joan Cusack, but also Conan O'Brien's in here now as a thing called Smarty Pants, a toilet training tablet, and it's very funny. So Toy Story 5 gets good review from me, 4 out of 5 stars.
Nice, nice. An important message, too, for sure. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on now to the, it's called The Death of Robin Hood, not exactly the usual take, I guess, on the legendary Middle Ages hero of Sherwood Forest. So here's a look at that.
Would you like to know a secret? Robin Hood, telling stories. They're all lies.
Looks pretty dark, Richard.
It is very dark. For as uplifting as Toy Story 5 is, this one is the complete opposite. This is very grim. This is a retelling of the Robin Hood myth. And now it's not Robin Hood and his merry men, it's Robin Hood and his murderous men. He is someone who kills for the joy of it. And when we meet him, played by Hugh Jackman, he's nearing the end of his life and he is ready to go. He's ready to surrender to whatever is going to come next for him. But he has one more battle to fight for his friend, Little John. He's grievously injured in that battle, and then is taken by Little John to this island where this mysterious woman, played by Jodie Comer, who we know from Killing Eve and lots of other things, nurses him back to health. And as he's coming back to health, he thinks, well, is there salvation for me? Is there redemption for someone who has led the kind of life that I've led? Interesting idea, except that the first half of this movie is so unbelievably violent. And it's real Middle Ages violence, too. It's the kind of stuff that I don't want to, in case people are eating dinner, I don't want to talk about on the television right now. It's very, very violent, and that stays with you as it bleeds into the second half. And so this introspective story of redemption never really took flight for me. So I gave The Death of Robin Hood, which is now in theaters, 3 stars out of 5, mostly for Hugh Jackman's performance as the aging Robin Hood.
Okay. And finally, Leviticus. This is described as a coming-of-age romance and supernatural horror film. So let's have a look here.
What do you like about this place? My mom wanted to live here. Stuck in this.
What'd you think of this one, Richard?
This is an interesting movie. Horror movies have been doing really well at the box office lately, so they're getting this one out. It's about 2 gay teenagers in sort of the Bible Belt of Australia. Their parents discover they're having a relationship and try and put them through some conversion therapy with a religious sort of bent to it, and it doesn't work. It's like an exorcism. So instead of having the outcome that the parents desired, it summons up a demon, which makes these two boys do terrible things. And this is a movie that has a lot of things to say about resilience and conversion therapy and all sorts of subtext woven through it. What I like about it as a horror movie is that it is practical effects. There's not a lot of computer-generated imagery here. This is, when you see something happening on the screen, it looks real, it looks authentic, it looks organic, and what that means is that it's even scarier than it might have been otherwise. So I gave Leviticus, which is now in theaters, 3.5 stars out of 5.
Not bad. So we've got certainly got some options for the Father's Day weekend. Gonna have to leave it there, Richard. Thanks so much as always.
Thanks for having me.
CTV film critic Richard Krause joining us today. We've got more news coming up on the other side of this break. Medical news tonight, the HPV vaccine for cervical cancer has drastically reduced deaths in one country. CTV's Stephanie Seikos has more on the Lifeline.
The HPV vaccine for cervical cancer has reduced the risk of dying from the disease before the age of 30 in England to almost zero. According to a first-of-its-kind study published in the Lancet Medical Journal, between 2020 and 2024, no women in the country aged between 20 and 24 died from cervical cancer. It is the first time no deaths were recorded in that age group, with experts estimating the vaccine has saved the lives of nearly 200 young women. HPV is the most common sexually transmitted infection, which can lead to several cancers. The Newfoundland and Labrador government recently found hazardous levels of radon, a cancer-causing gas, in 23 public housing units. The discovery at levels exceeding federal health guidelines has prompted some experts to call for mandatory testing across the country. Radon is a radioactive gas that forms naturally from uranium in the ground and can accumulate indoors, increasing the risk of lung cancer. Housing authorities in several provinces, including New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, have testing strategies. A growing number of children are being injured in e-scooter accidents, prompting a warning from health officials. The latest data comes from British Columbia, where 81 patients were treated at the Children's Hospital Emergency Department between April 2025 and March 2026, more than twice as many as the previous year. 35% of those cases involved bone fractures, 26% involved bruises, and 17% involved concussions. Officials say over half were not wearing helmets, and nearly 2/3 were riding over the legal speed limit. Ultra-processed foods are leading to soaring teen obesity rates. A major global study suggests teens who consume more ultra-processed foods are nearly 70% more likely to become overweight or obese. These foods are packed with junk like sugar, additives, and unhealthy fats. Because of this, they are more addictive, have fewer key nutrients, and despite being packed with calories, they leave you feeling empty. Diets high in ultra-processed foods and low activity levels has become the norm in recent years. As a result, teen obesity risk has skyrocketed. Carrying excess weight at a young age can lead to more health issues down the line, including diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease. With health and medical news, I'm Stephanie Seikos for The Lifeline.
Well, a Toronto duo, Yasin and Sean Theriault, put on quite a show in New Glasgow, Nova Scotia last night. This is only their second time performing out our way, but the first time in that community. The duo started in 2018, releasing their first album, Learn and Apply, 2 years ago. They're dropping their second in October. As for their set, everything from rock and roll to love songs. They hope to bring their talent to a bunch of different areas across the country.
We love it out here. We're trying to become, the next Tragically Hip of Canada. We're trying to do it. We keep saying we're like the interracial Hall & Oates. We're kind of like an interracial Tragically Hip. That's what we're trying to do. And so we try to get to each coast to coast in Canada, trying to get everyone to know who we are.
We definitely have a pop thread that runs through everything, but we can do soul, little country, little R&B.
So, if you'd like to check them out yourself, Yasin and Sean Theriault performing tonight downtown Halifax at the Carlton. The show starts at 8 p.m. and then they'll head back to Ontario to play the Sound of Music Festival in Burlington. Okay, let's step aside with a look at tonight's primetime lineup.
With Aaron and Peter.
Hey, we're sending you to Montreal for Osheaga Music Festival with the iHeartRadio experience.
All you have to do is listen to Move 100 for 10 minutes on the all-free iHeartRadio app.
On the markets today, the Dow ended the day up 72 points, and Canadian retail sales were up 0.5% in April. B&M Bloomberg's Marella Fernandez has more.
Canadians spent more on filling up their vehicles, no surprise, given the higher cost of fuel as a result of the Iran conflict. In April, Canadians spent $7.5 billion to gas up, or about 5% more than they did in March. Sales of vehicles and parts were also up in April, with both new and used car dealers getting a boost. Retail sales were up the most in Ontario, followed by Alberta. Canada is putting a 10% tariff on imports of canned vegetables. The finance minister says it's meant to address the critical circumstances of the Canadian industry, which has asked for an inquiry on an increase in these imports. The U.S. is exempt from the ban, so is Mexico and developing countries. It takes effect today. Wealthsimple blames a technical error for emails that incorrectly told people they'd won a cash prize. The fintech company says the error affected a small group that entered a contest. Some were told they'd won thousands of dollars. Wealthsimple has apologized for the mistake. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 70.55. West Texas Intermediate is up to 77.54. Western Canadian Select down to 62.30. And the TSX lost 111 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
Thank you, Morello. Now we'll head over to Kaylin in the Weather Center for the Wake Up.
Yeah, I got a really interesting picture for you tonight, Bruce, and for our viewers out there. Take a look at this. This was obviously an aerial photo. It was taken from a float plane from Jeremy Dan. I want to thank Jeremy very much for taking the time to send this way. Looking down at Sherbrooke Lake in Lunenburg County, Nova Scotia, you see that swirl of yellow and white? That is pollen, and there was a lot of pollen around this year, as those allergy sufferers could probably attest to. My son is one of them. He had a pretty tough season this year. Sherbrooke Lake for tomorrow, if you're in the vicinity of it, should be fog dissipating in the morning, followed by a mix of sun and cloud. You got about 60% chance of a shower in the afternoon. Low risk of a thunderstorm. High temperature near 21 degrees. Day planner for tomorrow across the Maritime region. We do start off with fog patches and some showers in northern areas of New Brunswick. There'll be some sunny breaks around through the first part of the day, but definitely also some broken cloud cover present into it through the afternoon hours, which is when we'll have some scattered showers around the Maritime. So not widespread, not too persistent, kind of popping up and moving through. And with those, a risk of some thunderstorms in areas of Nova Scotia, beginning approximately around Halifax County and moving off towards the east. Let's find out what's coming up on your Morning Atlantic.
Monday on Your Morning Atlantic, fueling up to hit the field. Soccer is more popular than ever, and we'll get nutrition tips on keeping young athletes energized on and off the pitch. Start your morning with us Monday on Your Morning Atlantic on CTV2 and Crave.
Thank you, ladies. Finally tonight, some heart-stopping moments caught on a drone video in California recently as a shark was spotted circling around a surfer. So this was taken off the coast of Santa Cruz. The shark kind of starts off as a shadow in the distance, but the surfer captures its attention. The movement starts to close in, circling the surfer, leading to some very anxious moments for the drone operator. The shark did eventually come up right behind the surfer at one point, closing in within a few feet, and then apparently thinking the better of it, just swam away. That is the definition of close call. That is the program for this Friday night, and that's it for this week. As a matter of fact, the rebroadcast begins in just a moment on CTV2, and of course, CTVNewsAtlantic.ca updates right around the clock. I'm Bruce Frisco in for Todd Battis tonight. I'll be back with your next newscast at 11:30. We leave you tonight with the names of everyone here at CTV Atlantic and some scenes from gorgeous Herring Cove, Nova Scotia. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast. Watch live on Crave.